Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. We have the pleasure today to welcome Lotta Pakanen. She's from the Oulu University of Applied Sciences in north of Finland, and she will tell us today about open badges in sustainable tourism. So, Lotta, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eric. I will share my screen, and I hope that it's okay now. So my presentation is about open badges for sustainable tourism. And I'm Lotta Pakanen. I'm senior lecturer in Oulu University of Applied Sciences, School of Professional Teacher Education. And we have about 10 years experience with open badges. So from the beginning, we have been there, and we have been helping other organizations to develop open badges. So our role in every project is, to facilitate the badge creation. So we are not, as in this case, we are not an expert in tourism field. We have other educational providers who are expert in that field, but we are expert in open badges, and our job is to enhance the use of badges in different fields. So we are the people who help others to integrate badges into their work. And I always like to tell something about me with open badges, and I have 3 open badges which are really dear to me. And my first badge is about open badges. It's in Finnish, but it says that I'm an educator in open badges. And the middle one is about digital learning and digital pedagogy. So I'm an expert on that. And in technical point of view, I'm also an admin in Open Badge Factory in many situations. And I wanted to, share my badges this way because we are, quite used to sharing badges in different ways. But for me, I think the best way to share my badges is to add them to my presentations and my email or things like that. So I like the visual part of the badges, and this is my way of using badges. But let's begin with our project which we are doing. In Finland, we have this service center for continuous learning and employment. It's called JOTPA, and we received a fund from JOTPA for 2 years, and it's about developing. It's about helping the tourism industry, which the corona pandemic did a lot of bad things for tourism, and we wanted to help the field. And we thought that by highlighting sustainability in tourism, we could help the tourism sector to come up from the corona pandemic, and the funding was about that. And as I said, that we don't really have any expertise in tourism, and that's why we needed partners which have different degrees in tourism sector. So we have 4 partners. We have 2 universities, University of Turku and University of Lapland. And we chose these universities because of where they are situated. And we know that tourism in Finland, it's different in Lapland, and it's really different in southern parts of Finland, in the archipelago. And we wanted to integrate both to this project. So we wanted to emphasize the differences between Lapland's tourism and between archipelago tourism. So that's why we have two universities which are situated in different parts of Finland. And then we have one University of Applied Sciences, addition to us, and it's the Lapland University of Applied Sciences, and they have a degree on tourism. And also the Lapland Education Center, which is, this educational provider, this vocational education provider, and they also have a degree in tourism. So that's why we chose the partners. But because we are building batches for continuous learning, we want to enhance continuous learning. We want to, target the people who are already in the working life. So we needed some, cooperating partners, and we chose the Association of Finnish Travel Industry, so that we could, in the best way, we could get in touch with the people who are working in the field. Because, this funding is meant for people in working life. We are not targeting people who are studying in our educational institutes. Those are not our target group. Our target group are the people who are already in working life, or maybe, outside of working life for some reason. For example, they could be on, parental leave or things like that. And we are targeting people who have received some sort of degree in tourism, but also people who are working in the field with a different degree. We understand that not everyone has a degree in tourism who are working in the field, so we want to target them both. But it's really important for this funding and for continuous learning to emphasize that we are targeting the people in working life, and that, of course, it gives us a lot of new challenges, because we are not talking about our degree students anymore. Then let's move forward. Let me see. We have 3 goals, and I'm going to go them through quickly. And I want to emphasize the fact that when we are building an open batch, this open batch family, this open batch constellation, there are a couple of steps that need to be taken if we want the constellation to be used in working life. And the first goal is do the background work really good. And when we are talking about sustainability and we are talking about tourism, we are aware that there are a lot of different reference frameworks also already in use. They can be, these requirements in different degrees. They can be, these national or EU level frameworks and alignments. For example, Agenda 2030. And we don't want to overlook them. We want to see what has already been written about sustainability in tourism. And the other reason is that we want to link our batches the best way we can to these frameworks, so that they can be used in different educational institutes. It's really important that if we want to use them in our schools, we need to somehow connect them to our frameworks. But in the other hand, we don't want to just do that. We also want the working life cooperation. So we are hosting these workshops where we are listening to entrepreneurs and companies and people working in companies about the skills that they think that they need when it comes to sustainable tourism. And our goal is to combine these two, the frameworks and the ideas from the working life, the needs from the working life. And as I said, we are going to emphasize 2 areas, 2 environments, Lapland and the archipelago sea. So these are 2 quite different things. And our universities will be in charge of this, and they will, publish these competence criteria for sustainable tourism. and they are already working on this. And this is a really important thing for us. We want to make sure that our batches are grounded in the best way that we can imagine. So this is always the first step for us. And the second step is building the constellation. It's going to happen next spring in Oulu. And with the help of the criteria from the goal number 1, we are going to build a constellation. I think that 9 batches are going to be built, and yeah, that's going to be a really interesting thing, that how we are going to, combine those frameworks and those, working life needs and goals in a way that we get one constellation. Our idea is to make a scalable constellation, which means that there is only one constellation, and the batches among that constellation will match to different educational levels in Finland. So they will be batches that are going to match the requirements in vocational education. And in the same batch constellation, there will be batches that are going to match the University of Applied Sciences level. And they're going to be batches that are going to match the university level. But we are going to blend them in a way that a person who, looks at our batch constellation, they don't need to, worry about that. They just need to, think that what are the skills and competencies they want to achieve, and then everything will happen in the background. And this will be my work. So I will be doing this next spring, and hopefully next autumn we will have the first draft of the constellation with probably nine batches. And we are going to publish the constellation in 3 languages, of course in Finnish, but also in Swedish, because the archipelago sea, the Swedish is the language which is really commonly used there. And for the Lapland, we are going to publish the batch constellation in Samish, which is a language that many people speak over there, and maybe English also, because we understand that in tourism field there are many people who don't understand or speak any of these languages, and English is the best language for them. But yeah, maybe 4 languages for our constellation. And because of this funding, we are going to have to link to our batch constellation to some sort of MOOC, online training, etc. When the project is finished, the constellation will be published, independently, without, any integration to MOOCs or online trainings. But because we are funded by JOTPA, this is the thing that we have to do. So in the project, we have to link it somehow to, this training education, and that's what we are going to do. We are going to build a MOOC, and people will come there. It will be free of charge, and it would be non-stop, so you are able to participate in the time that it's best for you, because we understand that in tourism field there are times that it's impossible to participate to anything which is not really necessary. So we want to make sure that our training is available when the time is right. And we are going to use the pedagogical model of open batch driven learning. So we are going to integrate batches to the training, so that when the training is completed, you will have the batches that you wanted to achieve. Yeah. Then a little bit more concrete things. I said that we are doing a lot of background work, and this is the thing that I'm doing right now. So I'm looking for badges, looking for certificates, frameworks, different materials about sustainable tourism. So this is really important for me to understand that what has already been done. We have a couple of badges in Finland. These are, 8 of the badges that I found about sustainability in Finland, but none of them talk about tourism. So there are many badges about sustainability, but 0 badges for tourism. And I think that's really interesting. And there is no, combination of these two, because there is no, badges for tourism in Finland. For maybe there is, but they are not, publicly published, so I can't get touch of them. And then I searched, badges in different languages, and I found a lot of badges about sustainability, and I found a lot of badges about tourism when I, broadened my search to the every country. But the combination of sustainability and tourism I couldn't find. I found no badges. So it would be really interesting that if you know that somebody has developed badges about tourism and sustainability, I would be really glad if you could, hint me that these are being done, because I couldn't find anything when I searched for badges. And but what I found was a lot of certificates. Sustainability and certificates go pretty much hand in hand. In Finland, we have Sustainable Travel Finland, we have Gold Travel Life, we have, different kind of certificates. But the main problem with the certificates is that they are quite broad. So they are, not really, easily achieved. They require a lot of time and effort, and they are really expensive. So for example, for small companies, they can be too expensive, and that's why we thought that open badges would be this low threshold, we say it in Finnish in Finland, that something is not too expensive or not too difficult to achieve, something which is not too easy, but motivating and for everyone. So you don't have to pay a lot of money to get the certificate. So this is what I'm doing, and if you know some badges that are both for tourism and sustainability, I would be really happy if you let me know. But then, the project in action, what we are really doing. I have 3 slides which are, concretizing the things that we are doing. We are building user-oriented patch constellation, and that means that we have to take in account 3 types of needs, 3 types of aspects of the development. And of course, the first one is our target group. What are the people who are working in tourism field? What are their needs for our bats constellation? And we are going to ask them, but we haven't, gotten so far. But we are thinking that, okay, there is, typing error. It's not promotion, it's promotion. So the first thing we thought that they would like to promote their own employment. Maybe they are outside of working life at the moment, or maybe they just want to upskill, reskill, and somehow promote their employment. Or they want to demonstrate their competencies to their current employer. So current employer says that, hey, you need to get skills about sustainable tourism, and we are going to offer them just that. So we are thinking that maybe 2 kinds of needs there will be. Then there are, the needs of the employers, the companies in the field, and we are thinking that they could be also two types of needs for our batch constellation. And the first one would be, profiling in sustainable tourism in a cost-effective way, because the certificates are expensive and we want to, offer some sort of alternative to those certificates. But the profiling would be really interesting, because if the personnel has the badges, the company can say that, okay, our company has the sustainability is a big thing in our company, but also maybe the companies could, use the badges in their website or things like that for their clients to say that, okay, we are a sustainable company in the tourism field. And then there are the competence needs of the region, and this is the thing that I've been talking about before. So that what are the special features in tourism in Lapland and archipelago? Are there differences? We think that there are, but what are the needs? And one way to to meet these needs is that our batch constellation will be published in different languages. So that's one, concrete thing we can do. This is a draft of our batch constellation. Maybe 9 batches and 3 levels, but the idea would be that a person standing before our batch constellation would have to do some sort of self-evaluation, reflection of what are the skills and competencies that I want to achieve. And then they would, take a look at this batch constellation and see that, okay, there are 3 levels. Maybe I want to, target the level 1, or maybe I want to target the level 3, or maybe I just want to, mix and match and pick something from the constellation. And because we have, 3 educational levels in this project, we were thinking that maybe the levels could, match the educational levels that we have. So the first level would be the basic level, and it would contain batches about the basics in sustainable tourism, and the level would be vocational institutes, vocational educational providers. So something quite basic, and it would be a really good point to start. And the other second level would be about developing sustainable tourism in your own profession, in your own work. And it would be the University of Applied Science level in our project. And the level 3, which would be the highest level, would be guiding and leading sustainable tourism. And the level would be the university level. But these levels, they would be blended, but when we are building the constellation, we want the batches to match to different levels, because in this funding we have to connect the batches to training, and the training of course will have to be the level of the training will have to be the same as the provider. So but after this project, the levels, I think, and the levels of education will be blended, so they would be not so visible in the constellation. But during the project, we have to keep them, tightly in our constellation. And the third picture is about the MOOC. Web course, online training. So all of these batches will be, offered via MOOC, and every educational institute that is going to offer those batches will offer them as a part of their continuous learning supply. So each of us, we have, some way of providing education and batches through continuous learning, and it would be the way also here. And the universities will offer the MOOC. Us applied sciences will offer the MOOC, and also vocational institutes will offer the MOOC. But as I said, that we are going to have just one constellation, we are going to have just one MOOC. So it's really important for us, this scalability, that we are not going to build a different MOOC for level 1 and different MOOC for level 2, etc. They will all be in the same environment, but the open batch driven learning, the pedagogical model will help the participants to choose the batches that they want to complete. And the people who are participating in the MOOC will get the badge, but also they will get entry in this study register, this national study register that we have in Finland. It's called OSKI. So they will have both. They will have the study register entry and also the open badge. And we are talking about what we are going to do after the project and what kind of elements will be published after the project. But with the project, we are going to offer these MOOCs and online trainings. And that's basically it, the things that we are going to do. And
I hope that we didn't lose Lotta.
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
You didn't lose me. You didn't lose me. I just had to, mute my microphone for a second.
Okay.
But this is the way that we are usually building batch constellations. So we have, these, 3 stages. And the first one is doing the background work, probably. The second one is, building the constellation, how it looks visually and how the batches are connected, etc. And the third one is, building a model, how to, get the batch constellation to the users. And in this project, the method is by online training, but in other cases, it's not always an online training. There are other ways to get the batch constellation to the target group. But this is a new target group also for us, because they are not, our students, they are the people in working life. So it's a bit, new thing for us. But we think that by doing the background work and building the constellation and, hearing about the ideas from the working life, we are going to, build a batch family that is good for the target group. But here was my presentation, and I see that there are, many, messages in
Thank
chat.
you. Thank you very much, Lotta. I will stop the recording now, and then we will have time for the questions. Thank you very much.